So today we're going to look at some of the differences between CPEs and kindergartens in the province of Quebec. So from a greater scheme of things, CPEs, which stands for Centre des Petits Enfants, which in English would translate to Center for Infant Children, you know, they are non-for-profit organizations and they are overseen by the Ministère de la Famille. While kindergartens, which in the province of Quebec is known as maternelle de 4 ans, are overseen by the school service centers, and it is the general responsibility of the Ministère de l'Éducation to manage this institution. Now, as a parent who's willing, to engage your child into any form of non-parental care, it is important that you do your research on the various institutions that the state has to offer, to make sure they're being exposed to the right form of education, to make sure, you're making the right decision. Now, some of the differences between CPEs and the CPE centers and maternelle de 4 ans, which in this case is kindergarten, just so we see at the CPE centers, the educators, are required to have a technical diploma or a CS. And at the kindergartens, they're required to have a 4-year bachelor's degree. The CPE educators have 1600 hours of training on training with working with kids 0 to 5. The same also applies for the educators at the kindergarten. Now, we see the age range and supervision ratio. At the CPE centers, we have for every one educator 10 kids. At the kindergartens, we have for every educator 17 kids. However, these numbers may vary. They may vary in the sense that if we have a resource person in the classroom, these numbers may drop in the sense where we would see one educator to 9 kids. Now, in the CPE centers, the environments are generally suited for kids, you know, 0 to 4, and the kindergartens are suited for kids of school age, which is, 5 years upward. Now, the cost at the CPE would cost the average parent in province of Quebec, as of 2022, $8.70 per day. This is all inclusive childcare, snacks, and lunch. Now, the service is generally open during the summer and even during PED holidays, which means you could actually drop off your child during the summer or during any major holiday. Whereas kindergartens is free. However, we do have additional costs, supplies, childcare, snacks, and lunch. And it is not open in the summer and it is closed during the PED holidays. Now, as a parent, it is important to know exactly how these organizations operate. For example, the CPE, you could actually become a board member. And becoming a board member exposes you to the policy that drives that institution. It exposes you to the legislature, it exposes you to the curriculum and to the plans, you know, or the activities your kids are being exposed to. Now, for maternelle de 4 ans, which is kindergarten, you could, as well in the province of Quebec, become a member of the advisory board. Now, becoming a member of the advisory board also gives you access to knowing the type of policy, knowing how that organization is being subsidized, and knowing the curriculum that your kids has been exposed to. Now, if in any case, there is something that you do not like about the institution, these are complaints that you could raise up as a board member or as a member of the advisory committee. You could raise up, and future amendments and provisions could be made to give your kids a better experience, which is going to facilitate their cognitive, social, and moral behavior.